Retro.
What's up, guys? This is Daniel Logan, Boba Fett from Attack of the Clones, The Clone Wars, Book of Boba, Skywalker Saga game, and hopefully many more things in the Star Wars galaxy. You are listening to Jay and Dennis on Podcast Stardust. Yep, this is the way I've spoken.
Hello there, and welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And we're going to end this week with a look at some recent Star Wars news. But before we get into the latest from the galaxy far, far away, Jay, please remind everybody what our social media contacts are.
Sure will. You can always connect with us very easily on Facebook and Instagram at Podcast Stardust.
All right, the dish is aligned, the signal's boosted to maximum output, shield is down, we are now broadcasting to the galaxy, so hopefully Admiral Raddus will get this. But this is our first episode since we recorded last. What you been up to recently, Jay?
Well, not a whole lot, actually. Just getting ready for my niece is getting married next week. So between that and Thanksgiving and doing a lot of baking and stuff like that, not a whole lot. Getting my flower beds winterized, not very exciting things, but not a whole lot of Star Wars stuff. How about you?
Oh, the usual. Trying to find Star Wars as much as I can when I can. But biggest thing we did recently is took the boys to see the new Predator movie, Badlands, last week. And look, in a world where we currently don't have any Star Wars movies in the theaters, this is my favorite sci-fi project from for a while. That's been out. Things have been out. Might be my favorite movie of the year. So if you are looking for something to scratch that itch, I would highly recommend this. It is violent, but it is not as bloody and gory as you would expect out of a Predator or Alien type of movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but you've watched the trailers and you have some idea. The two main characters are Predator and a synthetic character, and I saw someone describe it as Predator with a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe the other day, and I'm not sure that captures it perfectly, but it does kind of give you an idea of the difference between the typical Predator movie and what we've been given in the past. And it's the same guy that did Prey and Killer of Killers. So,
all right.
Yeah. And so if you're familiar, it's much closer, I think, to Killer and Killers in tone than it is Prey, which I think is closer to being a traditional Predator movie. But at any rate, this guy knows his stuff. He knows how to make Predator content.
That's awesome. Well, we've talked about it before, and you and I are both big fans of Prey and Killer of Killers. So I'm sure when Colby Wan comes home from college for winter break, we'll definitely make sure we hit this one in the theaters. I did finish Alien Earth, though, and I did see that they're going to be talking about a season 2 for sure. So, yay.
What'd you think about... Okay, well, you said yay. So I was going to say, what'd you think about the conclusion?
I liked it. I thought it was unpredictable enough, but yet, it also, like I said, left that wanting more feeling too. So, and they just started Landman. I forgot about that.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Okay.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, we've been busy watching Only Murders in the Building. We're just finished season 3 of that, and that's an easy series to binge. It's the episodes are all about 30 minutes a piece, and there's 10 per season, so you can get through that pretty quickly. We typically will get through like 4 or 5 in a sitting, and then it's been 2 hours, and then we'll finish up. So we usually get through like a season in no more than 3 sittings. It's not that hard to do. But Steve Martin Short, Selena Gomez, they've got incredible chemistry. They get all kinds of celebrities to show up and take roles on that show. And it's weird to say, but we've kind of called it comfort TV, which and it's weird to say that because it's a show about murders. So they solve murders, but there you go.
You are in very good company. I know a lot of people that are in that same kind of genre that feel the same way. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I got Stranger Things to look forward to as well on the 26th coming out the last season for that. And then I was also told by Colby Wan that we need to watch Welcome to Derry as well, which is the kind of it origin
Oh
story.
yeah, I'm gonna
So
take a pass on
apparently
that
it's
one.
pretty amazing. So yeah.
Yeah,
I have
I'm
never
not.
seen an It movie, so I have
That's
to
the
see
thing. I haven't seen it. I've not been excited to. So, but I need to get into Stranger Things. I have never watched that. So,
I love it.
but speaking of Stranger Things, Shawn Levy, who was in charge of season 5,
Nice
um,
segue.
yeah, hey, been doing this for a long time. I can spot one from a mile away. But anyway, he was speaking with Collider as part of the promotional tour for Stranger Things, and he was asked about Starfighter, and he had some things to say. He didn't really shy away from this question. So, anyway, I'm going to read some of his comments. First off, he said, well, for one thing, it is different in that it is an all new, non sequel, non prequel adventure. It's new characters, it's a new timeline, it inherits legacy themes, but it's really trying to give Star Wars fans and just movie audiences something fresh, something new, and with a spirit of play and big hearted adventure with moments of real levity that, frankly, A New Hope had in a revolutionary way. So he's got other comments, but I thought we'd address that one first. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's some big comments there, honestly. I mean, that's kind of in a nutshell everything that we've seen from Star Wars here as of late. I mean, it reminds me of sort of the feeling that you might get from Skeleton Crew and then, something that you might get from Mando and Grogu and I love the fact that he says that New Hope had this big-hearted adventure with moments of real levity in a revolutionary way. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that, kind of gives you that same sort of nostalgic feel as well.
Yeah, I found this quote interesting, and I'm not going to get into the rumors, but there have been rumors about what this movie is going to be about, or at least speculation out there, and you can easily find it if you want it. And a lot of that speculation is that it does tie directly into the Skywalker saga. That's all I'm going to say.
Mhm.
And so he basically seems to be saying, no, that's not the case, and I think I'm good with that.
Mhm.
I don't. We've we've had very limited pictures from the set. We talked about the one image where it was Ryan Gosling, and I cannot remember the kid's name, but I should put that in the notes. And they had the ocean behind them, and they were in their Star Wars costumes. And then recently, Shawn Levy released another image, and it was basically Gosling wearing that same costume, and but he was standing next to him, and I think he was wishing him a happy birthday or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, and the ocean was behind him again. So don't know when that picture was taken, if it was recent compared to the last one, but they seem to be trying to do something different just from those pictures to the extent we can take anything from those pictures there.
I
And, if anything, Andor taught us that just doing something a little different with Star Wars. Now, granted, that's tied in to the saga films, so don't at me. But
Mhm.
it's a different type of storytelling, right? And
Right.
so different angles like that, it works, and it can work fabulously. So I'm intrigued, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next thing he had to say was, we're really trying to sort of take that tone as a North Star every day. This is again the um, big heart adventure with moments of levity. My crew, my DP, director of photography, Claudio Miranda Gosling is kind of my central collaborator in the lead role. It's certainly been a dream come true. My 10-year-old self is on set with me every day. In fact, he's going to catch a flight tonight to go back to the set and keep shooting on Monday. But it's a huge, invigorating opportunity because Lucasfilm has been so encouraging of me doing something new. There's no pressure to be derivative or limited by any obligation to what came before. There's just a love of what came before. So here's the thing that I find interesting about that is that for years when the sequel trilogy was getting made and Rogue One and Solo, what did we hear? We heard that Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm had a very particular style that they wanted, and they
Mhm.
wanted collaborators that were going to work with that style and give them certain shots and do certain things to produce the movie. And what have we heard recently? Well, that Adam Driver had planned out a Ben Solo movie, which they greenlit, but then Disney turned it down on this. So it sounds like maybe Lucasfilm, between that and this comment, has learned how to loosen their grip on the reins a little bit and let some of these creators take the IP and try and do something special with it, which, again, thinking back to stuff like Andor, is pretty encouraging.
Yes, it definitely is. So, I mean, it must be that Shawn Levy, though, has the same sort of vision because, as you pointed out, there's been creators that have been fired over the, difference in opinion, or as you said, the not adhering to the same sorts of creative vision. So he must at least have this, kind of aligned for them to loosen the reins at all, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And so they trust him enough to be able to say, okay, he sees what we see, so let him do his thing. And, as you said, there's some magic to be had with that for sure.
Yeah. My only pushback on that was a quote that came out months ago where I think it was Kathleen Kennedy who said it, that she was hiring Shawn Levy to do a Shawn Levy movie in this case. So, yeah, maybe it is that Shawn Levy pitched something that she says, well, that is within our vision, but
Mhm,
she specifically told him that she wanted him to make a Shawn Levy Star Wars movie. So,
mhm,
you
mhm.
know what? Right now, it's all just words, right? We'll see what the final product is when it comes out May 28th, 2027. But I'm excited for this project, and we know next to nothing about it besides a few people who've been announced for the cast and a very, very vague description of what's going on. But,
Right,
you know,
right.
we talked about this on previous episodes of the news, just the similarity where we are with this movie compared to The Force Awakens, which is that there is a world of possibilities of what this movie could be in front of us, and we can speculate all we want, but it's just that it's speculating. We don't have a whole lot to go with. We don't even have any original trilogy characters that we know that are going to appear in this thing that we can start, you know, plot theorizing around.
Yes, yes, but it's still so exciting, and it's so
Oh yeah.
wonderful to have something tangible, like I
Mhm.
said, we've been playing whack-a-mole with all these different Star Wars projects for so long, and so it's just wonderful to have something concrete that we can latch onto and, talk about, so yay.
Indeed. The last thing he had to say was he was talking about the director of photography, Claudio Miranda. And he says, I'll give you two things real quick. Beyond his artistry, which is self evident in everything from Life of Pi to Benjamin Button, Claudio is, I call him the professor because he loves the nerdy figuring out of prep. He likes to design camera platforms that don't exist. He likes to think about lenses and formats in ways that are innovative. And so the rigor of his innovative thinking is a huge gift to a Star Wars movie that wants to break some new ground visually and be both a visceral kinetic ride, which is the other thing he brings. That was hard to read. Claudio is both Top Gun Maverick and F1 showed this. His sense of how to put people in action in a visceral way, not just in an observational way, but a subjective and participatory way in that cockpit, in that driver's seat. He does it like no one else does it, and I wanted that superpower for Starfighter. I think George Lucas would approve of this because
Yes.
the thing we've heard about him with his criticism is that the recent Star Wars movies haven't really done anything new with technology or special effects and stuff like that. And sure, we're talking about camera angles and making shots and stuff like that, but I think that's something that would George would appreciate.
Oh, 100%. I mean, just everything that we've seen from the innovations that, George Lucas has created over his career. And I didn't realize that this Claudia Miranda, had done Life of Pi and Benjamin Button, which are two amazing movies for cinematography. So, wow, yeah, that's definitely right in line of what we're used to when it comes to that. And I love the fact that he called him the professor too.
Yeah.
Shawn Levy did. That's very high praise.
Yeah, I have to admit, the only movie that I've seen that was in that paragraph is Top Gun Maverick, which I loved.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's
that was a
another great
fantastic movie.
one.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I have to go back and check some of these others out as well, just to get a better idea of what Mr. Levy is talking about here.
There you
So
go. Yeah, Top Gun, Starfighter, I mean, that's yeah, right
yeah,
on.
well, we still got our speculation of what Starfighter means, but anyway, we'll leave that for another day.
True that.
Okay, moving on. Up next, Star Wars Insider is coming to an end with issue 237, sometimes early in 2026. And I'll read you a couple quotes that have come out on StarWars.com about this. But up first, we have editor Christopher Cooper, who said, Insider has been a big part of my Star Wars experience for a very long time, both as a fan and professionally. It's been an honor to explore the galaxy far, far away with our readers during my 8-year tenure. But publishing has changed immeasurably since the Lucasfilm Fan Club magazine, and we live in an increasingly digital age, which sadly means that this chapter in Star Wars Insider's history is coming to an end. And after that, we've got senior editor Brett Rector, who said, I certainly share Christopher's sentiments. Having served as editor-in-chief of Insider during the lead up to Star Wars Revenge of the Sith in 2004 and 2005, and then to edit the magazine for the past 9 years for Lucasfilm Publishing has been the greatest privilege of my life. To say the magazine occupies a huge place in my heart is an understatement. So, I'll throw it to you in just a second, Jay, to express your thoughts. Star Wars Insider is a lovely magazine. I loved it, especially back in that 2004, 2005 timeframe and the years that followed before the depth of coverage that we got on the internet that surrounds Star Wars. But now you got like 1,000 fan sites and sites that are picking up the news and websites that weren't previously covering things like Star Wars as in depth as they did that are now doing it because this type of pop culture has just captured so much more of the zeitgeist. So I can understand. I haven't picked up an issue of Insider for a while. I picked up some of them to get some of the High Republic stories, but I think these two editors are onto something that in the digital age we live in, by the time Insider shows up in your mailbox or you go get it at your local bookstore, anything that's in there you've heard about from another source.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's had to be a struggle for them to, how do you outpace that? How do you offer something that they can't get like in that immediate gratification of just looking it up online somewhere? But anyway,
Right.
what do you think?
Yeah, it's very bittersweet. To your point, I myself am guilty of the fact that I haven't picked up an Insider for quite a while. I had subscribed to it for years and years and years, and I told you earlier that I was looking through some of my past issues because I had sent in a picture of myself with my two kids for a Celebration Memories edition, and I wanted to find it so bad. I know I have it around here somewhere. I'm sure I put it in a very safe spot, but I do have, gosh, at least a couple hundred Insider magazines that are all, tucked away on my shelf. And it is fun to be able to pull them out. But, in today's day and age, yeah, it's hard to keep those print novelties, intact because, as you said, there are just so many other digital things. But then again, it's an end of an era and it's very sad because I
Yeah.
remember way back when Insider was Bantha Tracks, and that was part of the original Star Wars fan club, publication, and that was my first experience with the magazine in its original iteration. And I still have a lot of those as well. I mean, I joined the fan club when I was, I think, 12. It was right around when Return of the Jedi came out in 83. So it must have been 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. So yeah, I've got all those tucked away in the basement. But yeah, it's been a good run.
Yeah. And of course, we know people who have written for Insider,
Right.
Dan Zehr and
Yep.
Mark Newbold, to name a few out
Mhm.
there. And I've seen them both kind of post their thoughts about this online. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's something that was a big part of my fandom in the past, but it was kind of harder. It was getting harder and harder to justify the subscription price for essentially something that was just kind of a collectible with stuff that you already knew that you could
Yeah.
find elsewhere. And I hate that. I really do because it was such a joy back in the day to pick up a magazine that was devoted to nothing but Star Wars
Oh
and
yeah.
cover to cover, and you'd get some short stories in there, or you'd get teases of the new movie that was coming out and some exclusive interviews that you couldn't get anywhere else. But now, you know, Star Wars is so saturated everything that it's things like Insider are a victim of that type of success. So,
And I would read it cover to cover too. That was one of the highlights, monthly coming to the mailbox was to get the new Insider.
oh yeah, yeah, I'd sit down and I'd flip through it while I had the TV on, and then, you know, I would never read it cover to cover. I'd read everything between the covers, but I would, kind of pick and choose stuff and always come back and read I'd get to the whole thing eventually, but it was just, you find one of the stories listed on the cover and then you flip to that one, you read it first, and then you come back and you read the editor's note or whatever. But lots of good stuff in there. Always great pictures as well. Some of these I'm going to have to pull out because some of the covers were just beautiful, especially if you got the in recent years the version, what did they call it? But it didn't
Oh, yeah.
have,
It was the
it was
subscriber version that didn't have
right,
all the stuff on the cover. It was just like a
just the
piece
art.
of art. Mhm.
Yeah, and some of those were breathtaking for
Yes.
Star Wars. So, yeah, some of those I'm gonna have to round up and make, find out who's on the cover, maybe take them to a con and get whoever it was to sign it or something.
Oh, that's a
It's a
great idea.
yeah, yeah. If you're gonna do that, so.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that's a fond farewell to Star Wars Insider. I hate to see it go, but at the same time, it's just I can understand why it happened.
Yes.
All right. Well, John Williams is getting another honor, and that is that the Hollywood Bowl it's naming its stage for him. So the LA Philharmonic is bestowing the honor on the maestro, and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were in attendance when this was announced. And Steven Spielberg had to say, without John Williams, bikes don't really fly, nor do brooms in Quidditch matches, nor do men in red capes. There is no force. Dinosaurs do not walk the earth. We do not wonder. We do not weep. We do not believe. Where does he get this? How does he come up with this stuff? Because I don't
Wow.
know how else you put it better than that.
Oh,
Just
so true.
when I read that, I was like, you can see why this man is an artist. He comes up with stuff like that. I mean, and he's not wrong. As George Lucas has said, John Williams is the secret sauce of Star Wars. And
Mhm.
we've talked about it numerous times. You take that music out there and then watch those scenes, and it's just not the same thing at all. But congratulations, John Williams, another honor, getting another famous locale named after him.
Oh, yes. Yes, and also while he can still enjoy it, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it's also I just saw too that he's gonna be scoring Steven Spielberg's upcoming it's like a UFO film in
Yep.
2026, so he's still working, which is amazing, and I just think that's a true testament of the fact that music of this kind keeps you young, for sure.
hmm
So,
Yeah, this is a man who needs to work, and he's doing what he loves. So,
yes. Yes,
uh,
amen.
yeah, when this was bestowed upon him, he said, "This is an honor that is unprecedented and unequaled in generosity shown by the Los Angeles Philharmonic family, my family, in making this dedication. I want to thank all the donors in this effort who proudly support and salute the work done by the Los Angeles Philharmonic, one of the greatest orchestras of the world. The uniqueness of this honor is certainly unheard of, and I thank you all." So yeah, so now he's got the stage at the Hollywood Bowl named after him, and then he also has the John Williams Music Building at Sony Pictures Entertainment in Culver City, California. So I'm with you. I love that stuff is being done now as opposed to posthumously,
Mhm.
so that he can bask in that honor that the way he deserves.
Right. Right, right, and live his legacy. It's very well deserved.
hmm All right. Well, the last bit of news we got for the week is that the Celebration store from Japan is going to be online soon. So on November 17th, if you are a ticket holder, you'll have access to the store, and then everybody else will get a chance to pick up some Star Wars Celebration Japan memorabilia on November 20th. And so it basically features the merch that was made available at the event. I kind of get the feeling it's the remainders of stuff,
Right.
which, but I will say this: I was able to get my favorite shirt from a celebration this way after Star Wars Celebration Chicago. I got the Mandalorian Celebration shirt,
Ah,
and
okay.
I ordered the Dr. Afra shirt after Star Wars Celebration Anaheim. That's how I was able to get it because I wasn't able to get into the store to do it. I think the T-shirts they print up extras after the fact, and to some because
Mhm.
why not? The but anyway, are you gonna check out the Celebration store or what's your plan?
I'll take a look at it, absolutely, and I love that they're, releasing this first on Life Day for ticket holders, which is very apropos.
Right.
But I did see, as far as T-shirts go, I mean, yeah, some of the designs are pretty cool, but I have so many t-shirts I don't even know what to do with. So it'd have to be
Mhm.
something pretty special for me to want to pick something like that up. But there's definitely some really cool designs, of course, inspired with the Japanese motifs and some of the artwork and whatnot. But I did see listed that there are sabacc cards that are going to be for sale too. So I don't know if they're just playing cards in the style of sabacc or they're specifically for playing sabacc. So I'd be interested in something like that because I love me a good game night.
Sure.
Yeah.
I may check out the store. I probably will not get anything that says Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 because I wasn't there.
Sure.
That's just the way. That's not to say that there might be other T-shirts that don't have that on that I would like, but I also have prints of the badge art, so I'm good with that already. That my wife bestowed upon me as a gift, and I love those. But I may check it out. I don't really know what's going to be there. I know there was a very popular Boba Fett shirt and a Darth Vader shirt that's essentially their masks done in that feudal Japanese samurai type style that apparently sold out there that I know a lot of people are going to be interested in getting. But I looked around. They only had a few things as examples up on StarWars.com with that news. But yeah, so anyway, good luck to everyone that wants to pick up some gear. All right. Well, then that will do it for this week's edition of Star Wars News here on Podcast Stardust. Thank you all for joining us for it. We hope you've enjoyed our take on the news. And if so, make sure you subscribe to the show, and then you'll get our weekly take on the news as it comes out. And once you've done that, we'd greatly appreciate your ratings review wherever you listen to the podcast. That does help us out quite a bit. And then, of course, you can find all of our past episodes over at retrozap.com. Jay, you want to remind everybody what our social media sites are?
Absolutely. So super easy to find us. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Podcast Stardust. And we do maintain some Pinterest boards for all kinds of fun ideas for everything Star Wars. And then we also have our 2 YouTube outlets. So we have the traditional YouTube as well as YouTube Music. So please head over to both of those, like, subscribe, share those out. And while you're at it, leave us a review as well. And you can also email us. Very easy to remember that as well. We are podcaststardust@gmail.com. So please send us your questions. And when we have enough, we will put them together in another listener question episode. Or if you just want to, drop us a line, you can do that as well. And then last but not least, we have our TeePublic store, which has 7 different show logo designs available on all kinds of fun merch. So if you are interested in that, you can hit up the link in our show notes. And thanks in advance because that is something that does help to support the show.
Okay, upcoming on the show on Monday, we'll be getting into 2 more episodes from Volume 3 of Star Wars Visions. And then on Wednesday, it is part 11 of our Revenge of the Sith series. And we had a great conversation. We already recorded that one. So make sure you stick around and check it out. Okay, thanks for listening to episode 965 of Podcast Stardust, everyone. Have a great weekend. And until next time, may the Force be